Hello, everybody, and welcome on in. Four playoff spots remain, only two games to go. Another edition of Power Rankings is here as we enter Week 17. Appreciate everyone tuning in. If you're new, subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated. Leave a like as well, and comment your thoughts down below. Now let's get right into these. Starting with the honorable mentions, the first is the Green Bay Packers. A very tough loss for the Packers. They were set up to win that game late, but they let it slip away. Love going down did hurt the offense to an extent. They were still able to move the ball pretty well with Malik Willis, though. He played great in relief effort there for Jordan Love, especially with how the defense was playing until the final 5 minutes. They were in control for a large majority of that game. Not getting the onside kick, that completely turned the tide the Bears' way. The game still even came down to a nearly identical situation, though, of a fourth down situation inside the Packers' red zone. The Bears with the ball needing one last desperation play. This time, the Bears were ready for it. This is where having Micah Parsons probably would have changed the play call and kind of give things a little bit more of an advantage to the Packers, as if Micah Parsons was in, you probably don't send as many defenders as the Packers did, and thus you probably don't have a blown coverage in the back end. But still, there's still time for the Packers to kind of bounce back from this and get ready for the playoffs. We'll see if they'll be able to. For now, they are an honorable mention. The next honorable mention is the Philadelphia Eagles. They got the win, they clinched the NFC East, but all around, I left that game feeling pretty whelmed by Philly. Through three quarters, they were playing a relatively equal game to the Commanders. Hurts went 22 for 30, 185 yards, and two touchdowns in this one. A.J. Brown led the team in receiving with 95 yards. Saquon Barkley had another really solid showing, as he does, 21 carries, 132 yards. The defense played solid. They held the Commanders to 130 yards through the air, picking off Josh Johnson once. They played the ground fine and just all around played well enough to handle the Commanders, but I'm not sure if this same level of performance would work against a playoff caliber team that they're going to have to be playing in a few weeks. Hell, even next week when they play Buffalo. Jake Elliott was having an off day. He missed two field goals, technically three, and all of them were missed by hooking the ball to the left. It's a really weird game for Jake Elliott. To build on top of a pretty mediocre game for Philly. So you're going to stay put in the honorable mention. They do get a home playoff game, though, so that should probably ease the blow a bit better there. But they still stick it to the honorable mention. The final honorable mention is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what a win for the Steelers. They got a nice statement win there. And they gained ground on the Ravens for the divisional lead. They played this game offensively as close to perfect as you could have asked them, especially in that second half. Rodgers ended the day with 266 yards and a touchdown. Jaylen Warren had a great game, 143 yards and two touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell had that insane touchdown catch to end the first half, which went a long ways for them to win this game. They played a majority of their defense in the second half through the offense staying on the field. They started the half with a 9-play drive, which, yes, ended in a fumble, but it led to a safety on the other end. And they followed it up with a 17-play, 9-minute, 44-second drive that ended in a field goal. The Lions in the third quarter were never on the field of play. And by the time the Lions were down 12, the Steelers had 24 more plays and nearly a full quarter more of time of possession. That's all around just a really, really impressive performance from the Steelers team that for a good chunk of the middle of the season here was kind of feeling underwhelming. But the past few weeks, the offense has kind of turned a new leaf, and the defense is getting back to that early season form that we saw from them. All around, though, the Steelers still stick to honorable mentions just for the time being. Number 10 is the San Francisco 49ers, and the offense showed up massively. They scored on all but one of their drives, and the one drive they did not score on was a technically end of half drive that was a missed field goal from 64 yards out. That even then still went in and hit off the crossbar. Brock Purdy had an incredible night. He threw for 295 yards and 5 touchdowns in this one, a new career high in touchdowns in a single game. He did throw an interception, but the defense got it right back for him. DMC had a great game, going for 117 yards on the ground and had 2 receiving touchdowns in this one. George Kittle over 100 yards and a receiving touchdown as well. The defense struggled early, but eventually got into a bit of control in this one. They still gave up 277 yards and 2 touchdowns to Phillip Rivers. They gave up 2.9 yards per carry to Jonathan Taylor, though, so that's an impressive feat to do. And again, they had that pick 6, which iced the game late. A very impressive offensive performance with a defense that played serviceably well going against this Colts team. It does mean the 49ers are in control of their own destiny in the NFC, as they can still get the 1 seed if they win out. And there's going to be a very interesting final 2 weeks in the NFC West as a whole, as there are 3 teams sitting at 10 plus wins, 11 plus wins in that division. We'll see how things play out. For now, the 49ers come in at number 10. Number 9 is the Denver Broncos, and that's a tough one for Denver. A game that they played relatively fine in, it just wasn't enough in the end. Bo Nix ended with 252 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and a fumble lost in this game. So again, pretty all-around fine performance. Probably want a bit more out of him, but still, especially in the touchdown department, but still, 252 yards is an impressive day. The offense only had 17 carries, though, and they totaled for 101 yards. RJ Harvey had a 38-yard touchdown in this one to begin the second half. He also averaged about 6 yards per carry. Probably want to utilize that ground game a bit more and kind of balance things out. The defense struggled a bit in this game, gave up 279 yards and 4 total touchdowns to Trevor Lawrence. They did manage to keep the ground game in check, though, and they did manage to give the offense plenty of chances late to try and mount a comeback. But again, in the end, it just wasn't enough. Denver is still holding on to the 1 seed, but the division lead shrinks a little bit. They're starting to play tougher defenses. They got a short week to bounce back. We'll see how they manage against Kansas City on Christmas. But Denver is going to need to lead into them being a well-rounded team. And hopefully when J.K. Dobbins gets back, they can start that process of introducing the ground a bit more into their offense. And hopefully he is back before the playoffs begin. For now, though, the Broncos come in at number 9. Number 8 is the Los Angeles Chargers. Another really good game from the Chargers. They're still very much in contention for that division and for the 1 seed in the AFC. Herbert threw well, going for 200 yards and 3 total touchdowns, including an absolute beauty of a throw to Quentin Johnston for the first score of the game. That was about as perfect of a throw as you could have asked for from him. Omarion Hampton also ran pretty well in this one, 85 yards and a touchdown. The defense shut out Dallas in the second half after giving up a bit in the first half. Dak played fine against this defense while the ground game was held in check, 91 yards on 23 carries with no one on the Cowboys having over 35 yards. The 14-play drive in the fourth, which gave them the 10-point lead, was an absolute beautiful drive by this Chargers offense and a great way to start putting pressure on this Cowboys team. And it ended up leading to a turnover on downs and a fumble, which sealed the game. The Chargers feel like they're a team that's right there. Same thing with most teams in the AFC. They're right there. They're close to getting over the hump. It's just, will they actually do it this season? And what better season than this year to do it when the competition in the AFC is about as open as it has ever been, considering that fact that the Chiefs are no longer in it and the Ravens seemingly aren't going to be either. So we'll see how the Chargers perform in the playoffs as they clinch the spot over this past week as well. For now, they come in at number 8. Number 7 is the Chicago Bears, and Caleb Williams had his NFL arrival moment. He's playing really well this entire season, but that comeback win and especially that overtime touchdown was his arrival. He ended with 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, but what was really impressive was the improvement that he's shown throughout the course of this game and really throughout the course of the season as well. His pocket movement has been incredible. He's handling the blitz really well, staying calm in the pocket, something you want to see from a potential franchise quarterback. The ground provided 150 yards and 5.8 yards per carry in this one. The defense did a great job bending but not breaking, keeping the Packers out of the end zone and forcing the fumble in overtime, which led to the game-winning touchdown. It's a great win for the Bears, who have now clinched a playoff spot for the first time in a long while and are in a really good position as well to clinch the division. They still feel like a team that probably needs the right matchups to go on a bit of a run this season, but I'm excited to see how this team continues to improve with Ben Johnson and with Caleb Williams, as not only this season, but for next season, when really it feels like the contention window might fully open then. But again, Caleb Williams has fully arrived, and so has the Bears at number 7. Number 6 is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it was a great win for the Jaguars. They're putting together a really nice string of wins here and playing really well in the complete style of football while doing so. The defense played well, keeping this Denver offense in check and making things difficult throughout the game. Trevor Lawrence had another great showing in this one, 4 total touchdowns to pair with 279 yards through the air. Parker Washington was the favorite target in this one, getting 145 yards and a touchdown receiving in this one. They didn't run the ball like they have in the weeks past, but they were all around still a solid game. They could be a sneaky team in the playoffs, assuming they continue this hot streak that they are on. I have some concerns that they're getting hot just too early and that this hot streak is going to end at some point during or right before the playoffs. But we'll see. Hopefully, they will continue this hot streak in, as if you feel like the Jaguars are a team this season that could go on a really nice run if they need to. And they could be a really fun, just that environment in Jacksonville could be a really fun environment for some playoff games, as we've seen in years past. But we'll see. If they stay hot, it could be a fun season in Duval. The Jaguars currently come in at number 6. Number 5 is the Houston Texans, and that wasn't as great of an offensive performance as I was expecting from the Texans. This game was a lot closer than it probably should have been, but they still got the win nonetheless. DJ Stroud had 187 yards and a touchdown on 23 for 35 passing, so a pretty fine performance, but again, you were expecting a bit more. The ground wasn't a focal point. They only had 26 carries in this game, but for about 83 yards. In reference, CJ McCaffrey in the 49ers game had 21 carries alone. The defense both won this game for Houston and struggled to play how I thought they would. The pick six early on in this game is a large reason for this win, but they still gave up 200 yards and 2 touchdowns to Geno Smith, and they allowed Ashton Jeanty to have his second career 100-plus yard rushing game as he had 2 total touchdowns in this one. It's a weird game for the Texans. They sneaked away with the win, which is all that matters as they're still fighting for that divisional title. But they probably should be able to handle business a bit better than they did. And some concern is there for that performance as they're about to enter another tough stretch of the season right before the playoffs. But we will see. I do still feel like this is a Texans team that defensively is built to compete in the playoffs. Just need the offense to step up a little bit. We'll see if they'll be able to. For now, they come in at number 5. Number 4 is the New England Patriots, and that is how you come from behind and get a very impressive win on the road and bounce back from a tough loss. Drake May had his first career 300-yard passing game, and it was electric. He ended the day with 280 yards in this one and made some incredible throws, including the touchdown to Kyle Williams. It could not have been placed any better than it was. He bounced back from the early interception just about as perfectly as you could have asked him to. De'Vion Henderson went down early and they shifted focus to a very pass-happy approach, and they did it well. Stefon Diggs continues to be one of the best offseason acquisitions of this season, 138 yards in this one as he's been a great target for Drake May. The defense struggled a bit against Derrick Henry. They gave up 128 yards to him in this one, but they got saved due to John Harbaugh not playing Derrick Henry at all in the final 9 minutes of this game. And it was a really interesting choice that cost Baltimore in this one. They played the pass well enough, going against both Tyler Huntley and Lamar Jackson, and the Patriots continued to seem like a scary team in the playoffs. I know there's some discussions about quality of opponents, but look back to the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams. Back in 1999, they had an opponent's win percentage that is currently lower than this Patriots team does, and they were able to handle business just fine and win the Super Bowl that year. We'll see if the Patriots can do the same as they are very close to winning the AFC East, and they come in at number 4. Number 3 is the Los Angeles Rams, and that's a tough loss in overtime for the Rams. They played great aside from the final 8 minutes in regulation, which they thoroughly collapsed it. Matthew Stafford still added to his MVP case even with this loss. He went for 457 yards and 3 touchdowns. Puka Nacua had 225 yards and 2 touchdowns receiving in this one, including the overtime touchdown. That was a great throw and a great run after the catch by Nacua. Stafford wasn't sacked once in this game. The ground game went for 124 yards with a touchdown. The offense did its job perfectly just about. They even led a potential game-winning drive in regulation, but the kick was missed sadly. The defense played well. They picked off Darnold twice. They sacked him 4 times. They forced a fumble right before the half. But bad bounces and 2 very key special teams mistakes cost them. The first was the just punting to Rashid Shaheed in the first place. That punt return touchdown jump-started the comeback. And the second was the aforementioned missed field goal. That was Harrison Mevis' first missed kick of his career. And it came at just the wrong time to do it. The Rams are still going to be a team that no one wants to play in the playoffs, and they've showcased that all season, and they're still going to be a very tightly playing team. The question now is just, how do they bounce back from this loss, and how do they play in the next time these 2 teams most likely meet, which there's a very good chance that they're going to be meeting again in the playoffs. I'm very excited for that potential matchup as the Rams come in at number 3. Number 2 is the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills had a fine win against the Browns. It wasn't a dominant showing that one might expect, but they got the win, and the defense played well enough down the stretch. They gave up 160 yards on the ground, but looking at these specific carries, it felt like they were giving up more than less than 50 yards to each Brown rusher in this game. The Browns had quite a few plays that were called back, and that would explain that feeling. But the run defense of Buffalo has been an issue the entire season, and it will cost them at some point in the playoffs if they can't drastically turn it around in the final 2 weeks. Josh Allen had 130 yards on 19 attempts in this game, while James Cook had a monster day going for 117 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on only 16 carries. I still don't fully know how to feel about the Bills as a complete team. I do know that they have a foundation that can be taken advantage of in the playoffs, just like in years past, if they can't start to mask some of these issues quickly enough. The run defense, the lack of a true star receiving option, they have the issues there that have plagued them in years past, still plaguing them now. And this feels like it has to be the season for Buffalo. If not now, then when? They have the perfect road ahead of them, it feels. But it doesn't feel like they have a team ready to tackle that road. We'll see when the playoffs roll around, as they have also clinched a playoff spot this past week. But for now, the Bills stick at number 2, even though I felt like dropping them a bit. They stick at number 2. Number 1, the Seattle Seahawks. Absolute cinema of a win for Seattle, storming while down by 16 to win in overtime. Kenneth Walker was averaging 9 yards per carry in this game. Sam Darnold ended with 270 yards and 2 touchdowns, while he did throw 2 interceptions, with one being a great defensive play by the Rams. The defense did struggle, giving up 457 yards through the air. 225 of those went to Puka Nacua. But Rashid Shaheed continues to showcase why he was added at the deadline to the Seahawks team. That punt return touchdown jump-started the comeback. They would also go on to go 3 for 3 on 2-point conversions to even be able to, 1, send the game to overtime, and 2, win the game in overtime. That alone is very impressive, even with 1 being through a bit of a lucky bounce on the backwards pass. It's still a great win for Seattle, gives them control of their own destiny in the NFC, as we have 2 weeks to play, and things are going to get very, very interesting in the NFC West. I'm excited to see how this one unfolds, and I'm excited to see how Seattle builds off of this win and see how they look going forward. For now, they come in at number 1. Okay, so quick rundown. San Francisco 49ers are at 10. The Denver Broncos are at 9. Los Angeles Chargers are at 8. Chicago Bears at 7. Jacksonville Jaguars at 6. Houston Texans at 5. New England Patriots at 4. Los Angeles Rams at 3. Buffalo Bills are at 2. And the Seattle Seahawks round things out at number 1. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.